Matthew, thank you for joining us today. Most people who are watching this or listening to this around the club, around Larne, will probably know you as our under-16s coach, the coach of our 2006s. But your top will tell us the story of maybe another job that you have. Tell us maybe about the last 10 days, last 2 weeks. What has that involved for you?
Yeah, so currently, obviously, I work for Larne part-time with the 2006s, but my full-time role is with the Wales men's national team as a senior team performance analyst. So obviously we had the games there quite recently against Austria and Czech Republic in a friendly. So we had the World Cup playoff semi-final over the last 10 days, which was obviously a big event and a big match for Wales. Thankfully, we got the positive result. It was a very tough game in terms of busy preparation, in terms of lead up to the game, a bit of uncertainty around whether we play a playoff final if we were successful against Austria as well. But obviously that changed due to circumstances with Ukraine. So over the last 10 days, it's been very busy for myself and the rest of the staff and squad. In the lead up to the camp, we've been looking at Austria for a lengthy period of time, analysing them, to see their strengths and weaknesses, how they play, statistically, both and visually through video as well. And then my role as the analyst, then provide that to the coaches for them to absorb that information, and then it would be passed on, delivered to the players to sort of form our game plan in terms of what we want to try and do in the game, and weighing up like the strengths of what Austria have and how to sort of counteract that, and also implement our game plan and style of play to obviously play to our strengths and try and get the result that we needed to achieve, which we were able to do. So we won 2-1, and that's give us something to look forward to moving on into June, when hopefully the playoff final get played then, and we'll finally know if we'll be going to the World Cup at the end of the year.
Yeah, you touched on it, and you explained a bit about the role of a performance analyst. How did that come about? How did you get involved in that kind of job and role? It's obviously a very exciting one, and Wales are certainly a team in the up. But how did you get involved with the FAW and the role as a performance analyst in particular?
Yeah, so back in 2013, I went to university in Wales, decided to look to go down coaching pathway, really. Once I'd finished like school and after school over here, wanted to get involved in football, and probably wasn't going to make it as a full-time professional player. So I wanted to like have a career in football and next best thing. So I obviously weighed up different options and considered, what was the best route for me to go down, and moved across to Wales then, to University of South Wales, and did a 3-year course in football coaching and performance. And during that time, in my third year, as a student, I did a placement with the Football Association of Wales in performance analyst, supporting the youth development squads. And then after that placement sort of took place in that third year, it was the summer of 2016, which the Euros was taking place, and obviously Wales were involved in that. And they needed some support staff to support the senior team analysts at that time, doing work on other teams involved at the tournament. So I was fortunate enough to secure a position, doing some opposition analysis on different teams at that tournament back in Wales, while the team were out in France at that time. And then soon after that, a couple of months later, I'd finished obviously university that summer, and an internship became available with the Football Association of Wales, which I applied for. And probably due to having had that experience over the last year, having that placement there put me in a good position then to secure that internship, which I did, which was a full-time internship that was due to last a year. So during that time, I worked closely with the Wales under-16 squad, and would have supported the senior team analysts in and around the office with different aspects of what I would currently do, in terms of some opposition analysis, looking at our own senior team at the time, and other different aspects that's required with the job role. And then, as I said, it was a 1-year internship, which sort of got extended to a second year. And in that second year then, in July 2018, I got offered a full-time permanent role with the Wales men's national senior team as a performance analyst. And since then, I've been working for the Wales men's senior team since that time, and obviously had good experience. And sort of we've had a lot of success in that period as well, qualifying for the Euros, competing in the Euros, was also qualified and into the Nations League Group A from Group B, which is also due to take place this June. So it'll be a busy June. And then obviously last year, then we had the World Cup qualifiers ongoing as well, which we secured a playoff place as well, and sort of currently in the process of that. So been pretty successful over the last 3 to 4 years since I've been involved, which is pleasing for myself. But ultimately, it's brought Wales success, which is the most important thing, and also the fans as well. I've had a lot to enjoy during that time.
Yeah. Obviously, as you say, you're coaching with Larne, you're based in Northern Ireland, but working for the Welsh Football Association. What does it look like day to day to be primarily based at home before you head off to the camp and matches and that type of thing? What does maybe a normal day look like for yourself as a performance analyst?
Yeah, so I'd work 9 to 5 basically throughout the week, really. So it's no different to a lot of other jobs. Obviously, previously I was based in Newport in Wales and would have worked in the office with the other performance analysts across the different squads. But obviously, sort of COVID changed things in terms of my situation. Moved back home and was able to get involved in coaching with Lauren. But on a day-to-day basis, it's really in the lead up to camps and games. We'd be analysing the opposition, as I touched upon previously, breaking down their style of play, looking at different aspects as well, statistical information that can obviously support the analysis to provide to the coaches, creating individual player clips on the opposition to sort of feedback and provide our players with direct information on each and every individual of the opposition, looking at the breakdown like penalties in terms of previous penalties that players have took for the opposition and where they're perhaps likely to go based on their history. So really a lot of detail goes into it. And then, as I said, supplied to the coaches and then given to the players then to sort of take forward and then hopefully implement that on the pitch then, really.
Obviously, when a lot of us think of Wales, we think of Gareth Bale and his exploits in the game against Austria and others as well. What's it like being maybe in the camp and around players like that, and Aaron Ramsey and other top players who have been there and done it and continue to do so? How do you find kind of working alongside people and players like that?
Yeah, obviously it's a great experience for me working along players at the elite level on a day-to-day basis. They've had great careers. If you look at Aaron and Gareth throughout their career, they've always been successful, and they've had big moments that obviously stand out in a lot of people's minds. But for me, as players and people, they're no different to anyone else within the group. I think it's probably evident maybe from the outside looking in, and it's definitely evident from being inside the camp, that togetherness and bond that the whole players have together. There's no egos there. They're just like one of the rest of the groups, despite how others may perceive them in terms of they're the star men or things like that. They're just down the earth people, really good to be around, very humble, and they obviously deliver on the pitch, which is the most important thing. And obviously, over their careers with Wales, have had really key and big moments in games that have brought a lot of success over time, especially over the last 6 or 8 years since Wales have been involved in major competitions.
Obviously, your day job involves working at the the very top level of football, international football. When you come to your coaching with Larne with the 2006s, that must benefit you. It must kind of help to rub off on them in terms of your preparation and professionalism that you work to. How do you find kind of matching the two up and your work with Larne?
Yeah, I think it's been really good for me in terms of that process, in terms of my development over time since I did go to university, and then obviously coming out of university, learning different aspects. So like at university, got the opportunity to do like modules in like nutrition and strength and conditioning, other aspects that are involved in football, but not directly coaching out on the grass. But it's also helped me to increase and enhance my knowledge to apply to my coaching, which is obviously an important part of all the different aspects you have to consider as well, especially on a full-time basis, maybe less so in a part-time capacity because you don't see the players as often, but you can still try and influence what players do. try and make them better and try and use their time wisely away from training, how to sort of, make themselves become the best individuals they can be. Being in the environment with Wales, even the youth development squads, it's about like 4 or 5 years ago, sort of the age group that I'm working with now is sort of a good grounding for me in terms of the sort of coaching experience I've had to date, to see what elite level football at youth development age groups looks like, not only just how it's done at the senior end of football as well. But one thing I would say about Wales is like the pathway is quite similar from top to bottom. It's sort of seamless and runs throughout the different age groups, which is really good for us, I feel, especially with players moving up. It's not really anything new or challenging as much for them off the pitch, because that sort of process and everything's been put in place to make that transition from age group to age group quite seamless. But in terms of my coaching, I think working with elite level coaches and being around them, how they prepare, deliver sessions and also review sessions has helped me massively in terms of my own coaching career, in terms of what I want to try and implement, take forward and apply with my own teams, especially with Lauren. All those different aspects in terms of like technical, tactical, physical and psychological aspects. I've learned a great deal from the different coaches I've worked with over the past 4 or 5 years. And with Lauren, it's been challenging at times this year for different reasons, but it's been good experience for me. And also, the players have developed and I'm sure learned a lot, and it'll stand them in good stead moving forward in their journeys as like young footballers.
Yeah. And just finally, you've had some very memorable experiences with Wales so far, 2 Euros, and obviously the next few months will maybe dictate whether it's a World Cup on the horizon as well. But the playoff, as you say, hopefully to come in June. There's the whole situation with Ukraine and obviously everything that's understandably going on there. But it could be an exciting year ahead for you in terms of football and everything that might bring.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, it was really positive and everyone was buzzing after last week's result against Austria, but we've got a lot of big games coming up. As I said, like the calendar's jam-packed with games for us in terms of June. Obviously a big focus will be on that World Cup playoff, but it's sort of a big thing for us being able to compete with the top teams in Europe now that we've progressed from Nations League B into League A. We've got Poland in June. We've got 2 games against Netherlands and also Belgium that we're quite familiar with in terms of, obviously we were in their World Cup qualifying group, so it'll be a busy June and a lot of preparation will go into that over the next few months, and then looking forward after that, hopefully we'll be successful in securing a World Cup spot. The draw is due to take place on Friday, and we'll be involved in that, hopefully all being well, when November and December comes. So that would be obviously great to be involved in that. I've experienced the Euros up till now, and that'll sort of be another thing that I'll sort of be a great experience to have, going to a World Cup and being involved in that with the team. So hopefully it'll all work out well for Wales and myself, and we'll be there come November, December time.
Look, Matthew, thank you for taking the time. Unfortunately, the Green and White Army won't be in Qatar, but there might be one Northern Irishman who's there, and we'll be hoping it's yourself, and we'll be cheering you on whenever the time comes. But thanks for sharing your journey so far and your involvement both with Lauren and with the Football Association of Wales. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks very much, Ian. Thank you.